Welcome to Live, Let, Thrive, a podcast about the Airbnb life, the share economy, and everything in between. Here are your hosts, Micah and Steve.
Hello, hello, hello.
And welcome back to another exciting episode
Of Live,
Let
Thrive. What is up, Micah, man?
I'm chilling. Stevie Stacks, how you doing?
Oh, man, doing good. The hectic host running around doing all kinds of craziness.
Oh, man.
Yeah, how you been?
Oh, man, I've been great. Just waiting for these last 2 units to get up. So just sitting back waiting.
Sitting back and waiting.
Yeah.
Cool. And we have someone with us today, hopefully, that can help us not be so hectic of a host, myself anyways. And it is a certain Andrew LeBaron. This is episode 172. Let me set it up first. This is episode 172 of your favorite Airbnb, VRBO, HomeAway, Lyft, Uber, share economy podcast in the world. And we're coming at you from Fort Worth and Arlington. And we have a special guest, Andrew LeBaron. What's up, Andrew?
Right on. So about what has it long been? About 3.5 years ago, my business partner and I, Isaac Moore, we picked up a property wholesale, and we actually couldn't move the property. If you're familiar with wholesaling, I'm sure you've talked to a lot of wholesalers, people that pick up properties and wholesale. That's what we used to do full time. And this one we actually took down. We actually bought the property. We bought it with creative financing. We bought it on a lease option to purchase with very little, actually nothing down. We didn't pay anything down. We were helping the seller out. We couldn't move it. It was a weird, funky property. So we're like, screw it. Let's furnish it. Let's put it on Airbnb. Let's see what happens. And lo and behold, I got this lady bugging us through the app that I've never used before in my life, saying she's willing to pay $200 a night for a week. And I was like, we can't even get $1,200 a month on this thing. How I almost questioned it, hey, how are you sure? Do you really want to pay $200 a night? Like I was almost like, hey, let's talk about this, And Isaac's like, no, man, let's set it up. Let's go. And so we did, and we were going to expect, a back and forth. Well, this isn't done. This is bad. We were scrambling to get the rest of the sheets, the pillows, we just listed it just to see, So we got an inquiry. She was going to come in in 2 days. We had 2 days to scramble to get everything put together. Well, we did it. We were successful. After that property, we started building a little empire, and we did the arbitrage thing for about 6 months. We downloaded a Udemy course by David Vu. I bought all of Brian Page's stuff, and we were just learning as much as we could about it. And that was 3.5 years ago. And this was, we started doing it on our own properties. We did it on our own properties before we did it via arbitrage. And then we were so good at it, people's like, hey, can you manage my stuff? And I'm like, I guess. So we started managing their stuff, and pretty soon we just had systems in place where it just became very seamless. It's a very robotic, very automated, yet without, it has the personal touch system, and we coined it buy more time. So that's what we do. We help hosts all around the world buy more time. We're not a big outfit, we're a humble outfit that's beginning to automate almost every facet of a business.
You that is awesome. Congratulations to your success. But man, you said something that I have to ask about. You said you used a lease option to get into a deal, and then you turned it into an STR. Can you go over what a lease option is and kind of break down that deal, how you got it, and how did you set up the lease option?
Yeah, absolutely. So I offered cash for this property. I'll just tell you the numbers. So I offered $125,000 cash, I believe. And that would be cash close, quick, no appraisal, little inspection. I'd even put up some non-refundable earnest money. Okay. And so I was like, absolutely not. I will not be doing that. I said, okay, well, what do you own the property? She said she owed, I think it was like 180, something like that. It was like 185. I said, great, let's do this. I'll pay 185. And she's like, what, you're going to pay me what I owe? And I said, yeah. And she was struggling. So it was a FHA loan, and you can't take over payments on FHA loans. What we do is creative financing. We acquire lots of properties that way. Multifamily, apartment properties. We do condos, single family residences, and we use that strategy. We use the seller finance or sub 2 method, where we take over payments on the property and we hold the deed, so we're equitable title owners. In this case, you couldn't, because it was an FHA loan. So what we did was we did a lease with option to purchase. So it allows us to control the property without owning the property on paper. Although we did put a lien on the property so that the owner doesn't get up and go sell it to somebody else, even with a lease in place. So it's like holding your thumb on title without being on title. You file what's called a memorandum of ownership and or of interest is what it's called. And it sounds really complicated. It's really not. It's just a lease with the option to purchase. It's really just first right of refusal to purchase the property. Seller can't go out and sell it to someone else. So we did that with nothing down, no deposit, no lease deposit. We told her that with what we would have paid as a down payment or a deposit, we're going to go in and fix up the place. And we did. We bought furnishings. We painted. We made the place really nice. And after we did that, we were in it for probably like $7,000. Typical furnishing fees for us is about 7 to 10K, depending on where you get your stuff and how good you are, putting it all together as a package. So I think we're around $7,000 out the door, but we got that back in a couple of months, and it was just, the numbers didn't make sense to me at all. And that's when I knew I was hooked.
So you said you just put a lien on the property to make sure she can't sell it. And then, like, is she behind on payments or no? She's caught up on payments.
She wasn't behind on payments, but she was struggling. She was a landlord. So she had people in there, and she just didn't want to mess with landlord duties anymore. She didn't want to fix things. She didn't want to, this wasn't a beautiful property. So we needed to go in and fix it up a little bit. And we really cut corners. In fact, we didn't even plan to keep it. We just wanted to sell it. And it wouldn't sell because it's just funky. It had a pool, had a fire pit, but it wasn't selling for what we wanted to sell it for. We were going to sell it on terms, but we thought, okay, screw it. We'll just buy it on a lease option. And we put the lien on the property. We filed the memo. And once we did that, we were literally on payment, or we were paying the same amount that she paid the mortgage company. So we would use a third-party mortgage company called Westar Pacific Mortgage, and we would make the payment to Westar. Westar makes the payment to her mortgage company, if that makes sense. So that way she feels rest assured that we're not pocketing all the income, that the monthly payments are being paid. But she was happy with it. She's fine with it. We literally paid nothing for the property, fixed it up, and it was ours. On title, it didn't say our name on it, obviously. What's even crazier about this is we put this up on Airbnb and we started getting hits. It booked out for the whole spring. And we were netting anywhere from $6,500 to $7,000 a month. Whoa. For a couple months. It was insane. It was insane. Some nights were $250. We had $285 one night. It was just, and I was like, this is an anomaly. This isn't normal. So we started recording our earnings, and then I posted our earnings and legit earnings on BiggerPockets. This is crazy. This is so crazy. I can't believe we did this. And we sold the lease option contract to a California buyer. Yeah. We literally sold the contract over to someone else. So they took over. Yeah. Which is what we wanted to do because we want to stay in the deal. We sold it for $20,000. So we made like about $40,000 total after a couple of months, like 3-4 months maybe. And we sold the contract to a new buyer, and he started making good money on it. He fixed it up, and then he actually sold the property. So
a lot of meat on the bone to go around.
Yeah, kind of complicated deal. I don't know if you guys get a lot of complicated, hosts like me, but I like to spice it up with some complicated seller finance, crazy. We create notes. So, but has nothing to do with buy more time. That was just our first deal, and it was rocking.
That could be a whole nother podcast right there. Yeah. I do need to pick your brain on all that. I want to do some sub 2 myself over here. That's why I can see the billboard now. We buy funky houses. The houses that people don't want to live in. They're just set up funky, but they make great Airbnbs. There's a market for that.
Big time.
So you had mentioned so you did arbitraging first. How many arbitrages did you have before you jumped into the management side?
We had around 7 arbitrages. We had about 7 contracts, and we were crushing it. And we were like, hey, let's get more. And then summer hit. And then when summer hit in the Phoenix Valley, I don't know if you guys are familiar with Phoenix, but when summer hit, it died. It was about 3.5 years ago. We were barely making rent on some of these. It was so funny. I can remember, oh my gosh, going to the landlord saying, hey, you know, we'll pay a late charge. Can you give us, another 20 days? He was just always asking for more time to make the payment. It was so funny. But then we were just so unorganized, because what we do is we crush in the spring. We make like triple the normal market rent. We wouldn't allocate funds correctly. We would literally bank it. That's all we would do, and then disperse it to our individual accounts, and life was good. But we were terrible at managing that part. We got a lot of help later. I had a mentor that stepped in to help me out, and we decided that we were just going to manage instead of just arbitrage. We were just going to manage for other people. We'd obviously have it for our own, right? And those 7 didn't include our own property portfolio, which we had about 10. So then we just started growing from there. And it's funny, we leveraged that income to purchase just properties that we want to buy extracurricular, properties that may not be STRs, right? Properties that might be long-term rentals. I bought a 6-plex in downtown Phoenix. Isaac bought a home in North Phoenix. It was freedom. It was so cool what we could do with it. And we just got so good at the systems that people kept bugging us. Hey, how can we, I was on Julian Sage's podcast recently, and he's like, so why did you decide to manage other people's stuff? And I'm like, well, we were just so good at it. We just thought, why not? It's kind of a waste of your own tools and software that we built from the ground up, which include everything from check-in, checkouts to inquiry, help, guest help, 24/7 guest help, even payout methods for vendors and everything else. So it's been a painstaking 3.5 years, but I think we've learned a lot in the long run.
So did you continue to hold your arbitrages while you were managing for other people? And is that a good idea to juggle both, or what?
Yeah, so some of them we did. Some of them we just let go because the owners were like, I'm good. I'll just take it on. Our original pitch was, for example, if you had a property for $1,200, I'd come to you and say, hey, we'll pay $1,250. But we'll also, it's kind of like the Brian Page method, right? We'll also improve it with smart home technology. I'll fix up your bathroom a bit. I'll change out some of the fixtures and the lighting, and you get to keep all that when I'm done with this lease. I tried to set up a 3-year lease. Most of the time they said no. It was either a 1-year lease, 2 years lease, maybe. Isaac locked up one in Scottsdale, Arizona for a killer deal. And that one cash flows no matter what we do. But it really just depends. From there, we started just managing other people's stuff. And that was actually a lot easier because there's no real expectation, but to just take care of their guests really well. We ensured a 5-star experience, and we're not paying a landlord. So I'm also a property manager professionally. I'm a licensed agent. So that helped out tremendously. But really, it's kind of just on them. Like the client needs to come ready. They show up to buy more time, and we take over the reins. We do everything from inventory. We ship inventory to your cleaner. Your cleaner takes it to the property, puts it in the cleaning closet. We have a checklist that, when they fill it out electronically, it pushes it to a database. In the database, we have a couple parsing systems that create a PDF tool that sends a report to the client saying, hey, this is your inventory count. This is the damage reported. We're already on it. We already reported to Airbnb. This is the picture of the damage. This is, everything. We're like an Amazon meets property management meets Uber, all together. And, you need a runner. We got it taken care of. That part took forever to build. That part, that was a pain. That was a royal pain. But when you build it and it's done, you're set. I threw a lot at you there.
No, this is good, man. You said you have a database. Now, what are you using to say, hey, this is what's in the closet? How does that database get pushed and then restocked?
Great question. We use Jotform for data entry, and it pushes to Airtable. Airtable is like MySQL meets Excel. It's a software you could use for free for a little bit, then you got to start paying for it. Airtable is the automation database. For example, I can create rules where if shampoo is less than X bottles in the cleaning closet, then an automatic message goes out to our inventory specialist that orders more. And they just make the Amazon order. We charge the client $10 to make the order. It ships whatever they're low on. So we collect a list of everything what they're low on. We take that list, we order it, we ship it to the cleaner. The cleaner then puts it all in the cleaning closet, locks it up, records that that has been placed. Client goes to their dashboard, they could see their inventory levels from wherever they're at.
Oh, beautiful. Yeah, that's how. That was one of the questions because you said over 30 units. How many units do you have total?
Right now, for Buy More Time, we're 30. I think we're 34 units total.
34 units. Okay, and that's what I was going to ask. I was like, okay, you're managing that many units, restocking. I mean, how does that work? And you just explained it. You know, you use your buddy Amazon to get everybody restocked, and you keep inventory of it, and they get a report. I mean, it's freaking phenomenal.
We used to be like, we're going to ship everything to a storage unit, you know, or to our garage, and then we'll ship it from there. I'm like, no, let's make the cleaners the storage units, right? Let's make the actual clients the storage units, right? So like there's another arbitrage, right? So we're like piggybacking on the cleaners or piggybacking on the owners. We have them sign indemnification waivers that, you know, they're responsible for the products if it's damaged, if it's lost. So they have to cover that. We don't usually run into that, but we also have their information on file where if they lose something or mess something up, we charge them. So everybody's accountable. Everybody's on the same page.
And that's what I'm wondering. If you're going to send a whole box of supplies to them, how do you know that? Hey, you grab a couple from me. I'll take the rest of that. How do you keep track of that?
So again, data entry forms. So they take it to the property, they fill the cleaning closet, they take an actual photo of the cleaning closet, which they can't take a photo from their photo library. The form requires them to take a photo live in the form. So they have to take it while there. You know, you can't upload an old photo. That doesn't work.
And what form is that?
Jotform. It's a form builder. Jotform.
Form. All right. I'm gonna look that up.
Yeah. So one issue we ran into is like cleaners were adding, like when they clean the kitchen, there's like 3 different pictures of the kitchen you need. You need the front picture, you need a picture of some of the appliances and the countertops. They would pull up old photos. You know, they'd keep like an archive of old photos because they didn't want to waste time. You're like, oh, I'll fill this out later. And I'm like, well, hold on. This is the same photo from the before. So we fixed that by creating a live photo widget. We didn't create the widget. We actually found it on Jotform, but it requires them to take a live photo. And then we were running into problems where they would submit the checklist at home after they left the building. And we didn't want that. So we added a geolocation widget where we know when they submit it, where they submit it. So it's inside the form. So they fill it out. You know, if it says they filled it out at their house, then we dock them for it. And they know that, you know, that's not any surprise. Like they know that if they're willing to pay the fee, great, you know. So
man, my partner Norman's gonna have a blast with this episode. This is like right up his alley, man. So you said something. So you said you'd have them take a photo of the storage closet because that I never thought to do because I've been doing all this take photos. I never thought take photo of the storage closet. That's a smart idea.
It's really just insurance, right? So they and literally insurance. If they steal, if you know, and they don't. I don't have cleaners. We don't hire people that do that. And, you know, people are people. They'll do what they do, right? But you know, with that widget involved in the form, and it's right there in Jotform, you can go, you know, pick it up today. Jotform is very cheap. Anybody can set this up. That's what's so cool. Like I talk like this is amazing. It's like, no, like you could do this today. You could set this up and create your perfect checklist. But it's kind of like if I have a cleaner show up and cleaner says, oh, we're low on this, or we need to order more, but we just ordered 20 things of toilet paper at, you know, 30 cents a roll, you know, where are they at? You know, we just ordered that. And then we look at the photos from before, we notice there's no toilet paper there. Well, I shipped like 3 boxes to you, Miss Cleaner, where'd they go? And the cleaner's like, oh, those were toilet paper, those were in my garage, you know, or whatever. Like everything's tight. It's a tight run ship. Like you really can't mess up, you know, unless you're not paying attention. So.
That's nice. So another thing, because you said You did say you started systematizing everything. What did you systematize for? I mean, you talked about this, the Jotform and everything. What systems did you put in place so y'all weren't going crazy running all these units?
Yeah. So I think the most important piece to this whole thing, if you're going to manage property for someone else or even for yourself, is the onboarding form. It's a long, nasty form. It's disgusting. It takes like 2 hours to fill out. I'm gonna bug you to death, and we have virtual assistants that do this with the client, but it's a long form. We ask everything from door codes, gate codes, alley codes. We ask everything from, do you have any preferences on cleaning the kitchen, chemicals that you want to use, all this. We ask all these things. We get special instructions, and we add it to this stupid long 400 field onboarding form. It's insane. But after we do that, we don't bug you. You see reports come in, PDFs come in. We get, and if you ever want to communicate with us, you can. We have a business text line, but it's very seamless. I've got 3 cleaning companies. I got your main and 2 backup. I got 3 electricians, 3 plumbers. I got 3 handymen. I don't really use the electricians much, but we just want to be safe. I have 3 errand runners. These individuals, they go to a vendor page and we collect all their information, and they get a unique Stripe account, a Stripe ID. So this is the cool part. Let's say I show up to your house and I clean your property and I fill out the checklist. Once I fill out the checklist, it goes to one of our team members for approval. After it's been approved and they click approve, I get paid. Wired the money directly. It's automatic. There's no manual, hey, let's PayPal this person, Venmo this person, Zelle this person. It's automatic because I have a Stripe account as a vendor. We require all vendors to have Stripe accounts. So if you're a cleaner, you have to have a bank account because you can't have a Stripe account without a bank account. Everything's electronic. We don't manually pay people. If there's, for example, in the cleaning checklist, if you say there's damage, like yes, there's damage, then you describe the damage, then you take a picture of the damage. So it's 3 things. Say yes, describe, take a picture of the damage. Once you submit it, the handyman assigned to that property immediately gets the image, the description, the door code to enter, the phone number of the cleaner to contact if they have any other additional questions. They get everything. And they're told at what time frame to enter the property. And if it's immediate, which it usually is, because we do allow same-day check-ins, they go straight to the property, they're fixing it, it's done. Now when the handyman's there, they have their own form called the damage repair completion form. So they have to fill out a form after they finish. If they want to get paid, they have to fill out the form. Nobody gets paid unless you fill out the form. So they say, great, doorknob's broken. One of the most common things, curtain rods, doorknobs, these are common things, right? Doorknob's broken, came and I fixed it. Here's a picture of the proof. Here's a description of how I fixed it. Here's the receipt. Here's a picture of the receipt that I bought a new doorknob. Here's my cost for labor. And they put that inside the checklist. They click submit. We see it. We click approve. They get paid. So it's all automatic. If we click reject, we can edit the amount that we pay them, or we get on the phone with them and say, hey, this doesn't look like it's really fixed. Can you get more pictures? Usually we don't run into that. They're really good at what they do. But that's how we made it automatic. So our time that we spend on everything is more on the guest. Our focus is on the guest, not the silly shenanigans of fixing things or inventory or restocking, because your quality is going to dip. It's on the guest. How do we take care of the guest? How do we make the guest love where they're staying tonight?
Wow.
Yeah, spending too much time on operations. Yeah, you take away from the guest. You're absolutely right. Now, are you only doing management now, or are you still buying properties, or what's your journey? What's your day look like?
It's funny you say that. So we're really good at outsourcing, Isaac and myself. So we have virtual assistants and Americans that work together to handle the day-to-day operations. So we're out doing our own thing. Isaac's a lender. My partner's a lender. And I like to buy multifamily. I'm buying a 42 unit hotel here pretty soon. Great. And it's just, we get to do what we love to do best, because the name we create is called Buy More Time. If I was a slave to my own time, if I was a slave to the clock, I'd be a hypocrite in my opinion. So I needed to create systems and team that loves to do what they love to do, and the system that actually works so that I can get my time back. And that's why we built it that way. That's why we called our company that. So
one thing you said you buy more time. How do you source your lease option deals? And the reason I ask is because that's like such a underrated strategy in the short-term rental space. Not too many people are using it. How are you sourcing your leads on that?
So I contact a lot of agents, wholesalers, and really, if you want to outsource the marketing on that, all you do is create an email marketing drip. You get any wholesalers and realtors in there, and you create, I would say, 30 templates and put them on loop. And the 30 templates you put on loop all talk about how you would love to rent to buy. If a property looks dilapidated or weird, I'd love to rent to buy, and I'll pay you for that lead. And you just tell them, hey, you got leads that don't work for cash. I'll buy those leads from you because all I do is rent to buy. I don't say lease option because people don't get it. You know, typically lease option sounds really complicated. That's an investor term, right? But I say I like to rent to buy. Now that's the most ideal way to set up an STR, in my opinion. I actually, even better than lease option is seller finance. If you can actually own the property with little to nothing out of your pocket, that's the best way. If you can lock that up, that's the best way. But a lot of people don't want to do that, right? How are you going to go find a property where they just hand it over to you? They're out there, but the rent to buy model is so key. So that's how I do it. And then when I approach the owners, it's very simple. I say, you know what? I rent out your property for a few years and then I purchase it. But I always have that option. If I don't want to buy it from you, I don't have to buy it from you. And if I don't buy it from you, you have a fixed up, beautiful home. This is your home. You got a beautiful house. It's got smart home tech. I'll leave that there. You keep it. It's got, it's newly painted. It's got nice furnishings. I'll probably take some out. I'll probably leave some there. That'll be yours. It'll be in better hands. What do you say? And they're like, oh, what's the catch? I'm like, that's it. There's no catch. So,
now I have a question on that. Since you're doing a rent to buy, how do you bring the Airbnb and the short-term rental thing across to them? Or are they fine with it?
Yeah. So if I tell them I'm going to do a rent to own, a rent to buy, they're pretty sure, and they understand I'm an investor. They understand I'm going to make money. And I tell them, look, I'm going to make money. I'm going to rent your place out however I can so that I can make profit. There's no hiding it. I'm very upfront. I'm very in your face. If I decided, and if they ask, you're going to Airbnb my property, I say, I might. Yeah, absolutely. There's nothing to hide. Like I'm very transparent, very open book. There's no schemes here. I'm here to make money. I'm a business owner. Mm-hmm. You're here to have a problem solved. I'm here to solve it. You need someone to make the payment. I'm going to make the payment for you.
Man, I love that. Like that you're the first person 170 episodes in to come in and say that's how they're getting STRs, is lease option and rent to buy, lease to own. Man, because I've been thinking, I'm like, man, if I can get a lease option deal, no money out of the pocket, only thing you're paying is furnishing, you can't lose. Now, Are you coming up with an agreed upon price when you do the rent to buy before you hop in the deal?
No, what I typically do is, it's a negotiation, right? So first, let me tell you how I find these. I like I said, I reach out to wholesalers and I reach out to realtors and I get on the phone with them. They're my marketers. I'm not going to go out and find them myself. I'm going to let them do that for me. So properties that don't sell, I also have a filter on the MLS, or you could use Zillow, you could use Redfin, of properties over 90 days on the market. If they're over 90 days on the market, you have to ask yourself, why are they not selling? I reach out to the agent or the owner, whatever, I don't care. Hey, I noticed your house is on the market for $200,000. It's been over 100 days. What's going on? Oh, you gotta go through Jimmy's room to get to the bathroom. People don't like going through Jimmy's room to get to the bathroom. Or it's only a one bath, right? That's popular. Well, it's only a one bath house, right? Oh, you're nodding your head because those are hard to sell. 2 bath, 3 bed is your bread and butter all day long. Well, I love those weird ones, okay? Because I show up and I say, hey, you want how much for the house? 200,000? What was the offer that you most recently received? Oh, I got an offer for 150,000 cash, but we want 200. Okay, great. I'll give you 200,000. I'll give it to you. I'll give you 200,000. I give you your price. You give me my terms. Deal? And they're like, that sounds good. And I say, hey, at the end of this whole thing, what if we do this? What if I do a seller finance deal with you? You are going to net more than 200 grand. Okay. They're like, what do you mean? I say $200,000 is the purchase price. I will pay 2% interest only. Okay, on 200,000, I'll pay 10,000 down, 5,000 down, whatever it is. And I will fix this up. I'll make it beautiful. I'll make the home just absolutely gorgeous. And at the end of a 60-month period, I'll pay off the balance. So I paid 5,000 down on a $200,000 house. I owe 195 on it for 5 years. It's not amortized. That principal balance ain't going down. It's just paying it. I just pay interest on that. If you look at an interest only calculator, it's very low. So my monthly payment on this thing is only like $250 a month. And that's a seller finance deal. It's interest only, guys. And I do a lot of
everything if you're Airbnb in that thing.
Oh yeah, you cash flow like a monster. So let's say this. So at the end, so I'm only out 5,000 to buy the house. I pay $250 a month because I'm only paying 2% interest only on this house. Now, principal balance at the end of 5 years is still going to be 195. Sorry, I don't get to lower my principal because I don't want to pay principal. I don't care. I care about cash flow. So at the end of the 5 years, let's say the house is only worth 100K. You think I'm going to get a loan to buy that house when I owe 195? Absolutely not. So I'm going to go to the seller and say, hey, market's crazy right now. I wish I could buy this home, but as you know, the appraised value is only 100 grand. Will you give me a 36-month extension? And a lot of times they do it. But if they say, no, I'm taking it back. I'm like, great, no problem. Thank you so much. And I give them this beautiful home. Okay. I give them this beautiful product of a house and they're excited. They're happy because they got a new house out of it. So I took care of them for 5 years and they get this house back and I cash flowed like a monster for 60 months. Right. So I netted a lot. That only works for homes free and clear though.
Okay.
Get it?
Yeah.
Okay. So it's gotta be free and clear. I'm paying interest only on these properties. If it's not free and clear, the lowest you could pay is the mortgage amount, right? So, because they owe a mortgage on it.
Yeah.
That's next level right there. I love that, man. And then you walk out with all this cash if they say no. It's a win-win situation.
It's a win-win situation. They're happy. And they know this before they even sign up. Look, I'm like, hey, if I decide I don't want to buy this in 60 months, you're going to have this beautiful property. I give them a list of references. Here's all the people I've done this with. You call them all up. They're expecting your call. If you want to verify, I got transaction history as well. You want to see HUD statements? I got HUD statements. These are real transactions. I'm taking care of your property. You're literally getting a rehabbed property. It's just taken 5 years for it to get rehabbed. That's all. That's what I tell them sometimes. Like, I'm rehabbing your house, right? But you better believe I'm going to make money on you. You better believe I'm going to make money on this property. And there's just no hiding anything. Now, how often do they say yes to these offers, right? Well, these offers, that's best case scenario, right? Worst case scenario is I got to put a little bit more down. If I got to put a little bit more down, a lot of times I like to borrow cash. So I go to my private lender. I say, hey, they want 30K down. So I borrow cash from him. I don't pay any interest payments to him at all. I just have to refinance, or I need to get out of the deal, sell the deal within 24 months typically. And I pay him 20% on his money. That's where it gets really complicated. Need a whiteboard, but you're literally out none of your own cash.
Wow.
Have you been on the Bigger Pockets podcast?
Not yet.
But if not, we need to get you. Yeah, you need to get on there. You're kicking it, man. Cool.
We're investors first. The short-term rental thing was second. It was like, we're already investors. We're already buying properties. How can we maximize our ROI? Well, short-term rental is where it's at. If you're in the right area and you have the right product, right area, right product, right team, you could crush this market.
Mm. So real quick on one more question on the rent to own and stuff like that. Why do you choose 5 years?
It's an easy number. It's funny. I'm actually undercutting myself for doing that. What I should do is, and a lot of what I'm doing now is I say 120 months. I never say years. Years is intimidating, guys. So I tell the seller, and listen, sellers are used to months, 12-month deal, 6-month rental, 12-month rental, 18-month rental. They like to hear months. So I'm going to speak in their language. I say, hey, look, this property needs to be fixed up. You're obviously struggling here. I'm going to take over. I'm going to pay exactly what you pay on the mortgage. I'm going to fix all this up. If I don't fix it up in 30 days, then we will rescind the contract. I will actually put a clause in the contract stating that I will rehab or paint or whatever in the first 30 days. So you see the improvements happening. I want you to be aware that I'm fixing your home up. Okay. And at no cost to you because I'm paying the price you asked for. Okay. So I say months, and I shouldn't say 60 months. I should start high, 120 months. For the seller carry stuff, I'm doing 120 months. I just locked up 3 parcels with houses on them for 60 months because I should have said 120. He only did 60. So, but that's at 2.4% interest, and I got 3 properties out of it.
Wow.
Now, this is not in an area that I could Airbnb. I'll be honest, and that's another thing too, guys. I want to Airbnb everything. Why? Because I get triple the market rent. Heck yeah. But these are not, this is in Tonopah, Arizona. If you look that up, it's in rural Podunk, out in the West. You're almost kissing California. You're in the desert. Bill and Melinda Gates bought like a ton of land over there to build a smart city someday. Everyone's like, someday it's going to be there. But right now it's not. So, but these 3 properties, there's only 1 tenant in one of the properties. The other 2 are vacant. But that 1 tenant already pays the amount that I owe the landlord or that I owe the seller every month. So they're taking care of it. So like, it's a shoe in for me. Now I'm just going to cash flow for 60 months. Life's golden, you know?
Oh, I love it. I love it, man. Let's go back to the STR world a little bit. You mentioned VAs, and you mentioned something interesting. VAs working with Americans. So first, how did you go about finding your first VA? And what was the learning curve on that? Because we hired our first VA, and it's a learning curve. And what advice do you have for people hiring and training VAs?
That's a great question. We've been through over probably 150, 200 VAs over the years. Wow. We've been through a lot. That's a revolving door because we didn't know what we were looking for. We now have a sound check test. We have multiple quizzes. We have 3 interviews. We put them through probationary period. We have a 30 day, 60 day, 90 day probationary period. We dangle the carrot at the end of the 90 days. If you make it through 90 days and you are great and you're a 5-star team member, we're going to give you a $1 raise. You know, we're going to help you out. And with all these checks in place, it's been so much easier to find the right person, the right candidate. Now I know who I'm looking for. Here's a good tip. I go on Facebook and I post in all these VA groups. There's a ton of VA groups, okay? And I post a link. I say, hey, if you're interested, fill out the questionnaire in the link. Well, the questionnaire, what they don't know is it's really long. So I'm already weeding out all the people that are not serious, right? So they fill out this questionnaire and it's really long. Once they fill it out, then it's scheduled a Calendly event, okay, for an interview with me. And I talk to them. I say, hey, I see you answered all these questions. We put them through different scenarios. So that's a scenario interview, okay? If they pass, I have them fill out a whole new questionnaire. It's a really long one as well. And then I do a panel discussion with me and 2 other members on our team, my partner and 1 other. And if they pass that, then it's the final, you know, typically it's 3 or 4 people that we choose from. And most of the time, if we reach the consensus that these people made it through the first 2 interviews, we want to hire all of them. Right now I think we're at like 10 people. So we have 10 VAs. They all speak very well. They all have downloaded on their computers something called Grammarly, which is a software that autocorrects their speech when they type in inquiries. We use a PMS called Your Porter. Yeah, we love Your Porter. It's glitchy sometimes, but they're pretty darn good and they're really cheap. They're really good. They need to have a i5 processor or newer. They need to have a laptop that is in good working order. We don't require, but we recommend 2 screens for all the different systems. Obviously, Your Porter. Sometimes they want to have another monitor open for Slack when they communicate with us and vendors and everyone else. We used to use Voxer. We don't anymore.
Oh yeah, Voxer.
Yeah, I really wish Voxer was Slack had a Voxer option, but it doesn't. But yeah, that's how we syndicate all of our stuff, or that's how we find VAs. Sorry, that was what you asked. That's an art, by the way. If you could find the right talent, that's an art. You know, that takes time. You really need to have a great perspective, or you need to perceive who you're going to hire. You need to know who you're going to hire before they even interview with you. If you don't know who you want, then and you hired your first one, I'm sure they're going to be great. What's going to happen is, you know, you'll hire someone else because you're growing, and you'll realize, oh, this new one's like 20 times better than the one we just hired. You know, I'm sure they're all going to be great. They're you know, people. People in the Philippines are my favorite. They're my favorite. I don't know if you're choosing people from the Philippines.
Yeah, Philippines.
I visited the Philippines a couple of years ago. My partner did as well. We took the family. Beautiful place. We got to meet our team. Wonderful people, incredibly smart people, and dedicated. That's why we choose them. They're very well spoken as well, and yeah, they're cutting edge individuals.
So what do you look for? You said you know what you want, what you're looking for. What are you looking for in a VA?
I'm looking for someone who currently has a job. Okay, don't look for someone who is unemployed.
Wow.
Yeah, that's another trick. There's a lot of tricks to this, man. This could be like a 4-hour episode.
I love that.
So my first question in the interview is like, where are you currently working? If they say unemployed, I don't even want to interview them.
Whoa.
I don't even want to talk to them. Okay. Now, another question is, how long have you been where you're at? And if they say something like 5 years, I want to talk to that person. Okay.
You're the second person to say that. That is a great gem right there. Yeah, but go ahead. That's awesome.
Yeah, no. So we asked that. I typically ask them scenario questions inside the questionnaire. I ask them, one of your team members is being very unruly. They're treating you very poorly. How do you respond? I like to see how they act, how they respond. One thing I will say about, and this is not a knock on the people in general. This is a culture thing, right? And the Filipinos are my favorite people. In fact, a lot of times I choose them over Americans, right? Over my own people, right? But one thing that I really struggle with these individuals in the past is they want to perform so well that they won't tell you what's wrong. And they won't say anything. And that's a big no-no to me. So that's another question. This is a pitfall you guys, I hope you won't run into now that I tell you. Whenever you hire somebody, ask them, let's say something's wrong. Are you going to hide the fact and solve it yourself, or are you going to tell the team? If they say I'm going to hide the fact and solve it myself, you need to talk to that person. It doesn't disqualify them to be hired, but you need to talk to that person and say that's a big no-no. We disclose we're a meritocracy. Meritocracy means you're paid on performance and your merits. Meritocracy, your merits, right? So everyone's on the same playing level. Nobody gets their feelings hurt. If you mess up, you call it out. Someone else messes up, they call it out. We all mess up, we call it out. We get better. That's probably the biggest thing I run into with the Filipino people is they don't tell you what's wrong. And that's actually great that's like their only weakness, honestly. Like they want to fix it themselves. What a beautiful thing. But you need to know at all times because their fix might be the wrong solution. People that are employed, they don't need to have degrees, but they've been employed with the company for a long time. Question them. Why do you want to work for us if you're so happy where you're at? Because I'll throw this question at them. I'll say, it sounds like you love where you're at. Why on earth would you want to come work with me? You have no idea who I am. And they'll tell me, well, I feel like I've hit a plateau. That's probably the biggest rebuttal I get. I feel like I hit a plateau. My company doesn't want to pay me anymore, even though I perform. I love hearing that because I want them to grow with me. So, but yeah, that's who I hire typically.
What do you start them off at, like pay wise?
It depends on experience. If they wow me and they're very good and their skills and aptitudes are very high and they've been with the company for a long time, I'll probably be at $6 or $7 an hour start. Okay. If they're entry level, it's probably $4 an hour. I don't go below $4 an hour. I try to, and there's other companies that go like $3 an hour, $2.50 an hour. I don't like to lowball people because if I'm not paying you well, you're not performing well. You're going to perform. It's going to be equivalent to what you're being compensated. Nobody works for free. And when people give me the BS, when I ask the question, what motivates you? And they don't tell me money, I'm shutting that off. Like you ain't talking to me because you just want to be part of something. I hate that. I hate when they say that. It's like, no, I'm here because I want cash. Okay. I want to take care of my family, right? There's a bigger why. It's not just because money. I want to take care of my family. So usually you'll sift through people that say the BS, and that same BS that they're using in an interview, they'll probably use down the line. So you don't want that. You want to hear someone say, listen, I love hanging out with my family. In fact, whenever I get weekends, we go to the beach. The way I do that is I perform excellently with the company I'm in, and I'm paid very well. And that's what I want with Buy More Time. I want to be paid very well. I want to reach for something and help this company grow, but I want to be paid well. If I hear that, I'm all ears.
And so that's I guess that's one thing. Like if we were like, well, we don't want someone that already has a job because they got to. How are they going to work 2 jobs? How are they going to do our
You can't
stuff?
work 2 jobs.
Yeah, and so you tell them, okay, we're going to hire you, but you got to quit your job. No moonlighting. No moonlighting.
Think about getting a corporate job at Wells Fargo or Chase Bank. You go over there and say, hey, I'm at Chase Bank. I work for Wells, by the way. Yeah, they ain't gonna hire you. It's like, great. If you're gonna work for Chase, you're leaving Wells. You're working for Chase. It's the same thing with us. Now, here's the deal. We actually just found out one of our people had 2 jobs, and her performance was kind of slipping. And that's how I'll know. Look, I'm never gonna stop a woman from working 2 jobs, especially if she's a single mom with kids. Like, look, work 2 jobs, work 8 jobs, work 20 jobs. But when I see performance slip, right? When I see performance slip, we're gonna talk. And I want to get them to the point where they don't need to work 2 jobs. Look, I'll pay you more. Like, let's create some goals, okay? And we make them submit goals. We call them WIGs, wildly important goals. And let's get you to the next level, because as we earn more clients, as we earn more properties, we started off with 10, when now we're at 34, so we're growing. If we get more people, or excuse me, if we get more clients, you get paid more. It's that simple. Everybody gets a bump. Everybody's going to grow with us. We're not going to leave you down and we grow. No, it's we all grow together. We use something called Time Doctor that monitors their screen, so we know if they're active. We know what their mouse is doing. We know what web pages they're going on. When you're on the clock, you work with us. You don't work with Facebook. You don't work with Amazon. You don't work with any other job. We had another guy that we let go some years ago who was working with a competitor company. So crazy. So he was basically taking all of our trade secrets. He was giving the ball to the other team. Like, here, this is what we do. You might want to use this. And I'm like,
oh man,
what? So yeah, I found out because it was so crazy. He was using our own database, our Airtable database, to collect. And this is kind of dumb on his part. He should have, if he's going to be sneaky, you got to be sneakier. But he was using our own Airtable database to house his clientele information. So I'm looking through this clientele. I'm like, who is this? We don't have any people. We don't have any clients like this. Like, we don't have any clients over here, over there. I come to find out that he's working with another company. And anyways, I called the CEO of the other company. I'm like, hey, I got this guy, or first of all, I said, hey, do you know this guy? He's like, yeah, we've hired him. I'm like, how long has he been with you? 6 months? I'm like, 6 months? It went over my head, like. So no, we have an employee code of conduct. You can't work for competing companies. You need to put in the time while you're here. If you're going to work multiple jobs, we can't stop you. But once performance slips, we're going to talk. Yeah, we have an incident tracker. That's a full-time job, guys. That's a whole nother game. When hiring one VA is very different than hiring 2 or above. One VA, totally different. 2 or above, it becomes a chore. So that becomes its own like system.
Wow. And then you mentioned your VAs working with Americans. You kind of mix them up. How does that work?
Americans are the salespeople, the sales and relations people. So they're the ones that bring people in the door. They'll reach out to you. We have one lady named Tracy. She's wonderful. She hops on all the discovery calls. So if you fill out the questionnaire, and the questionnaire for the Calendly, right? You guys use Calendly. Mm-hmm. So if you fill out a Calendly, you can add questions. One of the questions is, do you own, manage, or operate any short-term rental? If the answer is no, then we're just going to send you another link that says, hey, why don't you set up a time you could do a coaching consultation call with us? It's paid. If not, go out, find that property, put it under contract, do what you need to do, bring it to us. We just handle those that are up and running. If you're up and running, then we're ready. If you're brand new to this, go learn the ropes, figure it out, set your expectations, and then come to us later. So what they do is they get on the onboarding call and the discovery call, but we have VAs in the background that are there taking notes, filling out forms while they're on the call with the potential client, if that makes sense. So it's not just her on one call. On the call, we got probably 2 or 3 people in the background, and they're all doing separate things. One person's entering stuff into the database. Another person's starting to begin syndicating the listings into a porter. So.
Wow.
Man, you have a well-oiled machine.
It took you years to develop this, right?
Yeah, it took a while, like about 3.5, 4 years. We've been through our ups and downs. We've lost people to competitors. We've messed up on management. We have, sometimes we've been without cleaning a property in between turnovers, and that was terrible because these are high-end properties.
Oh yeah.
This is years ago. We don't do that now, but it's been bumpy, y'all. It's been really bumpy. But that's what it takes to get where you're at. Yeah, is if you stay the course and keep going and grinding, you'll get there. It's really just a game of who's going to stay, who's going to leave.
Mm-hmm. So, two-part question: what's the best advice you could give to someone as they scale? What's the best thing they could do, and what's some of the worst things they could do as they're scaling?
Okay, the best advice is get incredibly cutting-edge software that allows you to scale. The worst advice is deciding that you need to hire more heads to get more done. And that's not the case.
Ooh, I like that one.
And that was a big mistake we ran into. In fact, there's another company that's very similar to us. The CEO reaches out to me for advice and I give it to him. He's a friend of mine. And he's like, hey, I'm going to hire someone just for marketing. Hey, I'm going to hire someone just for cleaning management. Hey, I said, first of all, a lot of the software that you have can do all of this. A lot of it can do all of this. If you can have software replace people, do it. And it's not a knock against the people. It's just efficiency, less human error, less variables. You're going to have happier clients. It's just how it is. Now, does that mean your porter fails? Absolutely it does. Especially when you're syndicating crap to VRBO, that drives me insane.
Oh, man.
How about that, man? They dropped the ball on me so many times. I'm like, come on, guys.
Yeah, I have a call with the director who just decided to cut your porter. So yeah, dude, I'm in the same boat. That's
Right?
been a pain, bro.
That's frustrating. So software has always been a hiccup in this game of STR. Always. You want to be very resourceful with your software. For example, if you have the ability to collect email addresses of your guests, do it. Do it. Put it inside of a database. If you're using an email sending software, send them email every quarter. Look, there's only 4 quarters in a year. They have 4 emails a year. Say, hey, we love that you stayed with us. Come back. Okay? Come back. If you reply to this email, letting us know that you'll come back within the next, year, we'll give you 10% off your stay. Keep your occupancies high. So there's so many tricks to that trade, but I would say number one advice is make sure you get cutting edge software. So let's say you're at 10 properties and you're making really good money and you're curious what CRM you should focus on. Well, if you have a goal to hit 50 plus properties under management, focus on a CRM like Salesforce. Focus on a CRM like HubSpot. Focus on a CRM like, what's that other one? Now these are CRMs, these aren't PMSs.
Yeah.
There's other PMSs out there, like PMSs, you can use Guesty, you can use YourPorter, you can use Hostfully. There's one out there that's ridiculous, and it's actually here in Arizona. It's the steroids. It's the Hercules of PMSs. It's actually so ridiculous that there's companies using, what's that?
Is it Zivu? What's the name of it?
No. Let me get it for you. Hold on.
That sounds interesting. If it's that powerful, man.
Oh, it's in Chandler, Arizona. What is it called? VRMS. I'm going to type in VRMS. It does long-term, short-term. Gonna drive me nuts if I can't find it. Streamline VRMS. Look up Streamline. Type in Streamline VRMS. This guy, Anthony Corzo, his last name's Corzo, I think it's Corzo, left Intel, okay, and said, I'm gonna make a beast of a system for property owners, for short-term rental owners. And it's like over 10 years ago he did this, and it's just the beast of the beast of the beast. It's really expensive. He used to charge like $10K just to set everything up. Now he doesn't. Now they charge, I think it's like $1,000 a month minimum. So you have to have volume. You can't do this on like if you have 10 or 20. Like you gotta have volume. I think minimum is like 50 units. So they're willing to work with us. I just didn't want to pay the fee because I could do it all myself, patching everything together. But it is the beast system out there.
Streamline VRMS. Okay, I'm definitely gonna look into that thing.
Yeah,
that is awesome.
That is cool that you said that. That is tempting, and I've seen other STR hosts try to do that. I'm just gonna hire someone for this, hire someone for that, hire someone for that, and it reminds me of an old Sam Walton quote that I heard back in my Walmart days. If you have enough employees, then you're overstaffed. And I was like, that's pretty freaking interesting, man, right? Because you're not having them do enough. You're not pushing them.
I love that. Well, we had an issue with downtime. So we have these virtual assistants that they wouldn't be doing anything on their screens, and we had downtime. I was like, hold on. So then we created a system where we have projects, extracurricular projects, that when they're done answering guest inquiries or client inquiries or questions, start working on projects. So now we're so efficient. We run so efficiently that we can finish projects what took us a month, 4 weeks, and now it takes us 2 weeks to do. Cut it in half because they're doing something else during downtime. That's the thing too. Optimize your people to work on different projects to make your business better during downtime, because there are downtimes.
Man, golden advice going on right now.
Dude, this has been awesome.
My passion, funny enough, is not in short-term rental management. This is what's crazy. I only built it to scratch our own itch so that we could build a team around managing our own stuff. My passion's in creative deal structure. So I love creating creative deals, like nothing to load down, no payments for 12 months, full price. Like we've done some wild and crazy deals. That's my true passion. But Buy More Time was built so I could buy myself more time to do that. Create systems to manage the short-term rental management.
Dude, see, I'm trying to get into creative financing because I've been doing I did a BRRRR. I loved it. You don't
BRRRR's great.
Barely any money out of your pocket or none. And then I was like, man, the reason why I was looking into the creative financing thing, because someone emailed me this deal and she's like, hey, the owner wants to go. We're giving everyone a lease option. You can do a lease option on the property. I'm like,
heck yeah.
And she was like $10K down. I'm like, what? Brand new neighborhood, right in this neighborhood that I wanted. So I offered, but someone ended up paying cash for it. But it just sparked my mind. Like I could get a bunch of properties doing that, So it's definitely on my plate to do that, man.
What I would have done with that one, I would say, great, I'll pay $15K down. But in the case of this property, I don't want to do a lease option. I want to take ownership of the property on a seller finance deal. So I'll say, hey, I'll pay more, but I need to take ownership. Then I go to my private lender and say, hey, $15K for this property, I'll give you 10% on that money, and you can get it back in 24 months. And then all the income, I push it over to my private lender, and he gets the first income. It's called a waterfall loan. So they get all the income. I don't make any income until he's paid in full plus his 10%. So none of my own money was used. So kind of a crazy deal. Now, I did a lot of those when I was broke. I did a lot of those when I was broke. But, you get to the point where, like, for example, the market's crazy here in Arizona. The market's crazy in Texas. Market's crazy in Florida. Market's crazy in a lot of conservative states. And they're doing really well. I really kick myself that I didn't do more of these like 3-4 years ago, because right now they almost doubled in value. Imagine having a seller finance deal you borrowed $10K from a buddy of yours who had some sort of insurance claim, who wanted to make some cash on his money. It was like, hey, you got a car accident? Cool. You got 20 grand. I need 10 of that. I'll give you 20% on that money. Use that 10K, put it down, buy the property, make sure he gets paid back his money ASAP through the rents. And then after he's paid off, you take all that money. And then after 2 years, you sell it and make double the value of the property. That's where my passion's at.
Oh, yo, if David Green or Bigger Pockets is listening, this needs to be your next guest right here.
That's where it's at. Funny enough, I actually bought Brandon Turner's book a long time ago, Purchasing Properties with Little to No Money Down. You remember that one? Yeah. He built it, and Joshua Dorkin would give him so much crap when they were both on the podcast. And that's actually a big reason why I'm here. Bigger Pockets is huge. Like years ago, I started listening to that podcast, that and Epic Real Estate and Jay Massey and all these guys, right?
Jay's our guy.
Oh, I love Jay. So I love all these guys. And I'm like listening. I'm like, I'm getting pumped. I got to get into this. But Brandon Turner talked about no money down. what I learned from a mentor after I told the mentor about it, the mentor was like, we can make these deals even better. And he would just tell me, I'm like, how do you do this? There's people, get this, there's people taking down property with no to little money down, and they're creating with someone else's cash, senior living centers out of these houses that earn $7K a bed. I don't know if you've ever heard of this before, but they earn $7,000 a bed, and there's 10 beds in these properties making $70K a month. And of course you got to fit a tight box, right? It's got to be at least 2,500 square feet. You have to put sprinkler systems in it. So there's a little bit of upfront investment, not crazy, but if you negotiate $5K down and you borrow another $25K to make it where it needs to be, you can make that money back in half a month, But anyways,
as soon as we get off this podcast, I'm about to go set up my notifications. I'm going all in on a lease option or a rent to buy. Wow.
So you teach this to people, the creative financing?
It's funny. I don't teach it officially. I never really liked coaching. I have friends that beg me to do it, and I'll just help them. The only thing I ask you in return is that you bring me a deal. You bring me a deal, I'll pay you for the deal. I'll teach you. I'll walk you through the deal. I use a third-party mortgage company called Westar Pacific Mortgage. They know me by name. They manage all of our notes that we have. I create notes. You buy a property, seller finance. You put very low to nothing down. You create a 60-month note. You could take that piece of paper. You could sell that paper later too if you want. You're like, I don't want to wait for my money at the end. I just want to sell it. Or, so I do teach people if they bring me deals. If you want me to teach you how to do these deals, just bring me the deal. I'll do the deal with you. You do a 50-50 split, or I buy the deal from you, or I'll just help you over the phone, man. Just talk to me. We'll do it. So.
Nice.
I'm not your guru, man. Sorry. That was your question. I'm not your guru.
I'm bringing you some deals, man. Let's go. I'll get you the deal. That's easy.
Dude, we bought a property in Lubbock, Texas. Isaac and I. You guys got to talk to Isaac more too. He's a good dude. Good
Get
cat.
him on.
Yeah, he's cool. We bought a property in Lubbock, Texas. We needed to pay like $10K down, so we borrowed the money for the $10K. We bought it for like 90-something thousand. We're such idiots because we flipped it out for like $130K. We made some money. It wasn't crazy. Property today, that was only like 2.5 years ago. Property today is worth like $380 right now. Yeah, I know, right? We totally missed. We totally missed. But hindsight's 20/20. Now that I know the formula, right? I know that the wholesalers and the realtors are bringing me the deals. I know where the private capital is to fund the deals. I know that now I'm able to capitalize, or I'm able to fund my own deals, but I still leverage as much as I can to reduce my risk and to help my private lender. And in the meantime, buy more time just running, managing these short-term rentals. And we're continually building that foundation so that we can automate everything. It should be one well-oiled machine. So
here's a question I like asking every now and then when there's like a heavy hitter like yourself come on. Let's say a scenario where someone just like scooped you up from where you were, dropped you in a city you don't know, no money, nothing in your accounts. What do you do to start surviving and thriving?
So first thing I would do is I would find a more rural area, and I would ask in exchange for lodging, I will do work on their house. I will improve their house. I know how to tile. I know how to roof. I know how to do, whatever needs to be done. I would exchange work. They buy the materials for 4 hours a day. Okay. I'm only going to put in 4 hours a day, but I get lodging. And I try to slip in food too, throw me some food, throw me some dinner, throw me some breakfast. Let's say I had no money. Okay.
Yeah.
It's only going to take me, after I have my lodging, I'm set. I'm golden. Now I got the rest of the day. I have the whole day to find me a deal. Okay. I have all day long. What I'm going to do is I'm going to find five real estate agents, 5 of them. And I'm going to call all of these agents on Zillow, and I'm going to find out if they have any pocket listings or if they know any properties that aren't selling. What's not selling out there? I'm going to show up to the seller's house with the agent. I'm going to say, I'm going to put on a contract for full price. They're going to drop their jaw. Then they're going to pick up their jaw, and they're going to say, yeah, we want your offer. I say full price. I'll give you the price you want. You give me the terms I want. And they're going to say, okay, sounds good. We lock it up. I either sell the deal for $5K, $10K, or I keep it. Now you said I don't have any money. That's really easy. All I do is I get a smartphone and I post this on Facebook. I say, hey guys, I got a deal for $3K down. You can have a 2,200 square foot home and your monthly payment's only $1,400. It rents for $1,850. Who wants it? Done. You just be
Great
crazy.
hustler, man.
You'd be at the library typing because you don't have a
Yeah.
smartphone.
We're at the library. I smell really bad. My clothes have holes in them. I'm about to go do some work on a house, but I got this really great deal. Shoot. In fact, I probably do better than I'm doing right now. I'm lazy. Like when you're hungry, sky's the limit. You can do whatever you want to do. You can change the world when you're hungry. When you're full, you ain't gonna do nothing. You know, I don't know. So
Hey, just don't mess with the farmer's daughters, all right?
hey, that's right. That's a great song, by the way.
Oh man, this has been a great episode, man. We love it. We love it. Oh man. So where can people find you?
Find me on Facebook, guys, or just email me, andrew@buymoretime.com. Just like it sounds. Andrew, my name, ANDREW, at BUYMORETIME.com.
Cool. And that website has everything there if you need, if you want people to manage your properties and get, ask you questions like we did.
That's right.
Yeah, I just sent that to you.
Yeah, man. You got any more questions for him, Mike?
Man, that was it, man. It's like every time we get a guest on, they hit right with what I'm trying to do, and you hit right the nail on the head with the lease option. Man, that is like the nail on the head when you start talking. That's why I had so many questions. As soon as you start talking about that, I'm like, oh, let me start taking notes. Man, it's been awesome to have you on, man. This has been a great time. Good luck to you in the future, man. You're killing it. So I know we're gonna hear you on the Bigger Pockets podcast.
Hey, that would be cool. Hey, appreciate you guys. Thank you so much. Keep doing what you're doing. It's people like you that get us fired up and get us going at it and taking massive action. Look, if I didn't listen to a lot of these dudes if I didn't listen to Max Maxwell, Jay Massey, Bigger Pockets, all these people, if I didn't hear them, Epic Real Estate, Matt Terrio, Joe Fairless. I actually used to be the podcast coordinator for Joe Fairless. Funny enough, long story. Yeah. So I'm actually on the Joe Fairless podcast too, if you type it in, but that's a long time ago. My first deal was a duplex. I bought it on an FHA deal. Anyways, if it's not for people like you, honestly, there would be a lot less action takers. So you don't know what you're doing. This is incredibly valuable, like incredibly valuable.
It's funny because people tell us that, hey, you inspired us to get our first deal, now we got 20. I'm like, damn. And our listeners inspire us to get off our asses and do more. It's like a reciprocal thing. It's
so cool.
We're learning more than we're putting out there, but it's just, oh man, we love it. Yeah, we appreciate guests like you coming on and just sharing and just opening up your soul to all of our listeners, man. It's been great.
Awesome, guys. Thank you so much.
Thank you, man. Yeah, have a good night, man. Thank you for coming.
Hey, you too. Reach out anytime if you have questions about lease options or whatever. Anything creative, I got
right now.
All right.
Will do.
Sounds good, guys.
Okay. Later.
That was powerful, dog. Like I'm about to go all in because I was like, I need to get deals where I can still get equity. He hit the nail on the head. You got to do lease options because I'm like, nobody's doing that. And he's doing it with no money out of his pocket. Like, dang. You can't beat that. Go ahead, though, man.
I'm getting some text messages about people trying to hit me up doing that with my rental house in Hearst. The one that I'm getting some work done on right now because the previous tenants left. Now so I got new tenants coming in, and but I'm getting tons of text messages. Hey, I saw you have the house for rent on Zillow, blah blah. How about we we can rent it for 12 months and then we'll buy it from you full price, and they put a renter in there while they rent it from me for 12 months and then they sell it. They try to sell it to that person, whoever, I don't know, whatever their deal is, but it's like kind of I'm getting lease option text messages. So, and one of them I responded to, I was like, hey, so why would I do that when I could sell it for, a buttload of money right now? And they didn't say nothing, but that was my,
See, because I'm like, dude, because like we're calling these places and trying to arbitrage it. Like, yeah, that works, but you still have to come out of pocket with the money.
Yeah. You
do the lease option, man. That shit, dude. That was like, you can't beat that. And I know a bunch of wholesalers and realtors. I'm tapping into my network right now.
Adam Johnson, he also does that. He was on our show. Yeah.
Yeah, because I know he does. Yeah, I know he's real big on sub 2 as well.
Sub
Yeah, I
2.
didn't know he was
Yeah.
doing lease option as
Well,
well.
that's I'm sorry, I meant sub 2, where
Yeah.
he's like, he has the house for 5 years, and the whole 5 years he's doing the
Yeah.
Airbnb on it. So yeah, so there's people doing it, and it's kind of same approach. He fixes it
Yeah.
up for the person, blah blah blah. Either he buys it or doesn't buy it. But man, this is cool. This what's cool about real estate and short-term rentals. It's just creativity. It's all it is. There's no limits. There's no freaking limits.
There is no limit. See, and that's what I'm learning, man. That's why I love this podcast, man. We just keep learning shit. Now I'm like, fuck it, I gotta apply it. You know what I mean? So like that, I gotta apply it. That was some game changing shit right there. So
Yeah, it was a great episode, man. Where can people find us?
man, you can find us at liveletthrive.com. Email us liveletthrive@gmail.com. Follow us on Instagram. You can follow me at Micah Artist on Instagram, Steve at Steven Shea Swarthy. You can follow Live Let Thrive on IG as well. Thank y'all for continuing to listen. We are we're in the 170s, man. That's crazy.
I know. It's nuts.
That's crazy to think about. They said the average podcast doesn't go past episode 9.
Oh, wow.
That is crazy. Yeah. So thank y'all for continuing to listen to us, and hit us up. You got any questions? Hit us up on Instagram. Send us an email, man. Thank y'all for continuing to listen. We are out.
Peace.
Later.
Thank you for tuning in to this week's episode of Live, Let, Thrive. Be sure to tune in next week for all the latest in the world of Airbnb and all that entails. Bye-bye.